Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome to the first ever episode of my brand new series called If It Were Different. I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and I hope you guys end up enjoying this because I really want this to be a successful series. So if you end up enjoying it, please drop a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Only if you enjoy it though, I'm not forcing you to, so don't worry about it. I just wanted to get out of the way so you guys didn't forget, and I didn't want to shove that down your throats with that request. But anyways, let's get on with the actual video. So what is this series? So what this series is that it's called If It Were Different, and I want to do this for a while where I look at the theories or the possibility of different outcomes in regards to other things such as media, the internet, pop culture, and stuff like that. So we can take things like movies, TV shows, video games, books, etc., and we think about a certain scenario where we recall a past event with the said item in question, and we theorize a alternate outcome of what actually happened, or maybe even predict one actually. But that will be only very rare. It's going to be a past tense one. That's why it's called If It Were Different, not If It Will Be Different. So, because otherwise at that point it's just a theory. So we basically do theories on old events. So what I want to talk about for today is kind of where I guess you kind of get into that weird paradox where it's a future-based one, but it relates to the past, and it's where I want to talk about what if YouTube came out in 2020, or about to be 2020. So what if YouTube came out today? That's what I wanted to actually talk about here. So let's talk about the history of YouTube so we can get to know why it would be important for if YouTube was or was not released this year. So let's look at the history of YouTube. So for YouTube came out on Valentine's Day of 2005. YouTube released actually with only so little features that wasn't even funny. YouTube's system had a whole bunch of different features. Instead of likes, you had 5 stars so you could rate people for videos. On comments, you could actually do things where you could do a video reply or a video comment. You could actually end up commenting, and then you could end up doing a video response, and that would send a video to the user, and that was able to do things such as contests back in the day, where if you happen to be making a contest, you'd say, send me your best video, and I'll shout you out. And you also happen to have things like the different layouts, like where you had a friends list, actually, for YouTube. Your AVI was different. Monetization was not even a thing back in the day. And then you had partners like Machinima that got that started. Search genre was more popular. Like, back in the day, it was more about, like, skit videos and short little clips. Then transitioned to more of, like, vlogs and, kind of like getting to know people type of videos. Kind of like podcasts almost. Then you had the funny skit videos like Fred and the Annoying Orange, and then you had gaming, and then you had it expanded so much more. It's changed so much over the years that it's not even funny. And the way that YouTube is now, there's had so many big events. You've had, when YouTube first started out, you had like people just getting started on the platform. No big controversy. It was just getting big for itself. It was competing with things such as Facebook and MySpace, which were like the two big titans at the time in terms of social media platforms. And YouTube just blew up by storm. It became an amazing phenomenon, and everyone was loving YouTube. And it was something as simple as the very first YouTube video ever, which was a guy vlogging at the zoo, to where we are now with people such as PewDiePie having over 100 million subscribers, which is just mind-blowing. And you even have people like me who just sit here and just do videos casually and just talk to you guys. Like, this is basically our Facebook. So it's funny how things have changed. You've had big events such as the ones that I can recall in recent memory. You've had the Adpocalypse went into 2016. You had the PewDiePie Wall Street Journal issue. You've had issues with copyright, and you also had issues with YouTubers getting false flags. And then you've also had some of the more lighthearted stuff like the mini T-Series versus PewDiePie subscriber war. That is going to be remembered forever. The PewDiePie versus T-Series race for like a certain subscriber count, that is going to be big. PewDiePie trying to stay ahead of T-Series and then eventually getting to 100 million, that is going to be infamous, and it's going to stay in YouTube's history forever. You also have some of the popular things, like the Such the Entities is when Annoying Orange and Fred got their TV shows for the first time, and Fred was in movies. Like, that was the first time that YouTube was recognized for actually being in other things such as TV shows or movies, which would lead on eventually to become other things such as books as well, with, like Lilly Singh or I, Superwoman I, or The Odd Ones Out. you know, it would actually advance more on that, and YouTube was becoming more of like a entity instead of more of like kind of like this just idea. And in fact, YouTube, funnily enough, fun fact for you, is actually a word in the Urban Dictionary now, and you can actually see how much more that people would become accustomed to YouTube and considering a job, and a lot more people are willing to sponsor YouTubers and help them make it a job as well. And you have these big conventions that theme around YouTube, which are memorable, and people won't forget that. And then also as some side facts as well, I want to talk about how YouTube was basically first created. So like I said, it was created Valentine's Day of 2005 by 3 guys that actually used to work for PayPal, believe it or not. So basically what happened was that they were working at PayPal and they met each other there. And the 3 guys that are in question here is, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing their names, but Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jod Karam. And basically what happened was that they decided to make YouTube to kind of like have a platform for everyone to share their opinions and thoughts on. And it was actually fun enough based off of an idea that they had during the Super Bowl where they were looking at infomercials, and they basically were like, you know what, we should make kind of like a website where people can like share their thoughts and opinions on stuff like, you know, about the media, such as like maybe like football. Now keep in mind is that what I'm saying is a brief summary. I'm trying not to plagiarize the article in question, so if you guys want to see the full thing, I will link it down below in the description, but I'm basically kind of skimming over it and kind of you know, rephrasing it a little bit here. But you have things, you know, where you go as simple as 3 guys at PayPal make a platform, and now it's the biggest thing in the world, owned by Google, and it's provided millions of people jobs to do what they love, and it's absolutely insane. Now, YouTube is the biggest thing in terms of video streaming ever at the moment. Now, where am I going with this? Why would I bring this topic up if I wasn't necessarily going to talk about, you know, certain things? Well, I'm glad that you asked. So 3 things that I want to talk about YouTube here in today's episode, or today's theory, is that I want to look at YouTube in the way that it is now being applied to the past, and I also want to look at the current YouTube being almost like the old YouTube, where it releases in its first original form. Then I also want to look at the third thing, where it's YouTube released in its current form, but it comes out in 2020. So YouTube being released in its old form and new form in 2020, and then being also re-released back in 2005, but as its current self. So let's look at those 3 outcomes. Let's look at YouTube releasing in 2005 the way it is currently. Currently, the way that YouTube is now, I don't nearly see it being as successful. Get rid of all the faces and stuff and just think about the functions of the website. You have likes instead of 5 stars. You have you know, subscribers and everything are still the same as well. The comment systems are slightly different. You don't necessarily have you know, just plain old comments. You actually have heart features and like features, and you can reply, but you can't do video responses. You don't have a friends list anymore, so that is gone. You don't necessarily have kind of like a more lenient policy. YouTube's policy has been a lot more strict. Even though the rules did exist, they were a lot more enforced. So demonetization would exist. Copyright strikes would be a lot more prevalent. And you probably also could not swear or necessarily be as vulgar, or also, even because of COPPA now, be specifically making kids-themed videos too specifically with this current YouTube back in the day. And I honestly think that this YouTube would not fly because of the main reasons of that. It would just be way too strict. The influence that YouTube has had on the media is great, but one of the equal things that is just as great is the influence of the media on YouTube. If YouTube was just released the way it was, and we had zero influence on it, they just always ignored us like every single time, even though it may feel that way, they do listen to us. If YouTube was not able to listen to us, it would have died a long time ago. They have to accept some feedback, otherwise they're just going to sink. No one's going to use the platform. So if YouTube released in 2005, people wouldn't necessarily find it as enjoyable because they would find it way too strict and unenjoyable. It'd be a hard to enter market. Because even though you could make money in this scenario, think about it this way. Most people at the time during 2005 did not have high enough quality equipment. So you gotta think no Elgatos, no blue snowballs, no, you know, great vlogging cameras, and also all the big YouTubers are gone. We're gonna exclude PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, you know, just an example, like any of the big name YouTubers, that is all gone. They would have to reset from scratch, and they are unknown in this scenario. If you think about it in this way, some YouTubers did not begin until years later. So PewDiePie did not exist during 2005. Markiplier, you know, Jacksepticeye, all those guys. Nobody existed during 2005. So it would be the old school YouTubers, people that probably are not even on the platform anymore. I cannot think of a current YouTuber from 2005 that's still making YouTube videos, or at least that is very well known. So you would have no brand recognition in terms of popular people on the platform, and you would just have people like me who don't necessarily have that much of a following, and so therefore it's more casual and it's an easier to enter market. But on the contrary, you have things such as demonetization, you know, the very strict policies that YouTube is enforcing where you can only upload certain content. And to start off as strict, you're already restricting half of your fan base. Because what happens is that when you end up adding rules over time, people are more willing to adjust because they've already invested time into you and they know what you're about and they know that they like your platform. But when something's already hard to enter, most people, us as humans, will not take that risk, and people will be like, oh, it's too hard, or why should I even bother type of logic, you know? So I feel like that with YouTube, even though it would have not any necessarily big brand names, and also no popular videos. All the videos are deleted in this scenario, because like I said, where this is like current YouTube in 2005. All popular videos and all popular YouTubers are gone. It's just a strict function of the website. Due to the strict function of just the website being too strict and people having frustration with it, it would die. In my honest opinion, it would die. It would have a lot of people, but it would definitely die. It would fade out kind of like MySpace. Now, brushing over that, let's talk about something more interesting, which is the YouTube coming out in 2020. This is the thing you've all been waiting for. We had to talk about that though, so you had a general idea now of how the way that people would react in that scenario and how it could apply to this scenario. Comparing and contrasting the two scenarios, let's look at YouTube releasing right now in 2020 with the old functions. If YouTube came out in 2020 with its old functions, 5 stars, the video responses, the friends list, no demonetization, but no ads either, YouTube would honestly be a lot more successful because it would almost be in the sense of like a Facebook or a Twitter at this point. I wouldn't consider it a MySpace. It'd be more of like a Facebook and Twitter. Popular, but not too popular. Basically, what it would be is that it would be a video streaming platform that would be allowing you to upload your highlights, such as kind of almost like a Reddit, like a subreddit. It would be very casual. Nobody would be doing it for money in this scenario because it'd be the old version. It would only be if you just want to. Google did not buy out YouTube, I think, until 2011, so we would have to wait 6 years in this fictional scenario here. So it would all be just for fun. And also, once again, there's no popular YouTubers in this scenario, and there's also no popular videos in this scenario, because like I said, it's being released, not re-released. So there's no past to it. So once again, every YouTuber and every popular video is off the platform, it's just function. But now, we have things such as the Elgatos, we have things such as these famous vlogging cameras, we have a whole bunch of cool sponsors that would be ready, but they don't know about YouTube yet. That's the kicker, is that they have their company, but they're not ready for it. Now, if you have this happen where YouTube releases in 2020, and all these functions are old school, with these new companies, I could see it working. I can see people investing their time into this, and they can be like, hey, I see potential in this, let's fund this. But then again though, in this functional scenario, or this fictional scenario as well, Google doesn't technically buy out YouTube in this scenario because it was 6 years later. So if it came out the old way, like it was in 2005, you could have something else other than Google buy out YouTube. So theoretically, you could have Google not fund YouTube and be able to have the monetization. Google is what makes YouTube monetizable. So it could be either monetized for another company, or be monetized in a different way, or not monetized at all. YouTube could be specifically run off sponsorships. It could be not even ad related at all. It could be just a website that gets, you know, ads occasionally just to fund the website, and that's it. No big brand name YouTubers because no one's making money off their videos, and the only way would maybe be through sponsors or donations. And in my opinion, I feel like that if Google didn't buy out YouTube, there would probably be some other big company as well. I would honestly say that, my honest opinion, I would say it'd probably be either Apple or Amazon. I really feel like Apple or Amazon would invest their time into it because YouTube is on every cell phone, it's on every tablet, it's on every computer browser probably ever. Like, YouTube is the biggest streaming platform. And other than Twitch and Mixer, the streaming platform, specifically the live streams, there's no other big video platform like YouTube at the moment in our current year of 2020. You have Twitter, obviously, for the little clips, and you also have Facebook for its little clips as well, but you do not have the equivalent of what you have with YouTube. So therefore, I feel like that YouTube would definitely pick up because it would be the only thing of its kind, unless that it is, what happens is that in this fictional scenario, because YouTube doesn't quote-unquote exist yet, a new company makes a competitor, and then they end up trying to top it. My guess is that they could end up having it where a new entity tries to get in the picture, but it'd be more likely that streaming would be the popular thing. I think that YouTube, if it didn't release back when it did, streaming would be the goat of things. Like, you would have streaming like Mixer and Twitch take over, and that would be the market. That's where everyone would go. That would be the YouTube. Now let's look at the last scenario. Let's look at YouTube releasing now, but the way it is now. If YouTube released the way it is now, you would have, let's say, all the current popular YouTubers and everything, and also all the streamers and all that stuff already exist, but not with YouTube. So you would have, let's say you have Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, and all these other famous videos, like those types of ideas. Let's say those types of ideas, but outside of YouTube, that's the only thing that counts. So what was on YouTube doesn't count. They still have their subscribers and their subscriber count and anything, but just let's imagine they didn't come from YouTube. Like, let's say they grew their channel from Twitch or Mixer, like hypothetically, just as an example. Just think about it that way. Let's say that these famous YouTubers and streamers that we have now, let's say that they weren't on YouTube yet because it came out, hypothetically in this theory this year. And like, let's say they notice the platform and they take advantage of it. Like, let's just say they join it as a part-time thing, kind of like how people have a part-time YouTube or Twitch, one or the other, however you think about it. And they end up joining this website the way it is now. You can make money off of it, but you still can get demonetized. You can end up doing likes and comments and all that good stuff. The way it is now, just imagine current YouTube, but everything starts over. I can see it blowing up, but with one major big exception. Who would be popular on YouTube? The function would still be the same. I could see people wanting to make money off of this. I can also see this being still the #1 platform, but the people who would be #1 on the platform would be much, much different. You could have people such as PewDiePie or Markiplier or whatever who started off growing on YouTube either not be #1 anymore or be a lot lower on the chain. PewDiePie and Markiplier and Jacksepticeye as my main example, because those are the main people I think about. These guys didn't start getting their YouTube channels to blow up until 5 years later. So let's say they started now. They would have to wait 5 years and hope that any of the 2020 onward competition wouldn't be competing with them. Either that, or they would have to end up having their same subscriber count, but it'd be from some other third-party website, like let's say Twitch, and then it carried over to YouTube instead of vice versa. You know what I mean? I still feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like that what they had on YouTube was special, and that if they try to bring it over, it wouldn't be the same. Most people, when they follow you on a social media platform, they will stick to you only on that platform. So like, for example, if you guys follow me on YouTube, you most likely don't necessarily follow me on Twitch. That's just because you follow me on here, you like my videos, but you don't necessarily like my streams. You don't want to keep track of every single little thing I do, which is understandable, even though I try to promote that, and I definitely recommend that, by the way. But that's not the point. Basically, you don't necessarily want to pay attention to every single little thing I do. That's just the way it is. Like, for example, celebrities don't have their, movies get all watched by the same amount of people. They don't have all their TV shows watched by the same amount of people. Not everybody reads their book. Not everybody interacts with them. Some people don't even know some celebrities. Just like the same logic with YouTube. Just because if, hypothetically, let's say that YouTube started over and everybody joined back, and like the slate was wiped clean, doesn't mean those same YouTubers would rise in the same order, nor would they still be as popular. PewDiePie could theoretically be the lowest subscribed YouTube channel at this point, because in this idea, he's starting over. And he could end up being the same guy, same quality YouTuber, same type of content, but like I said, the slate's wiped clean. The algorithm doesn't know who he is. The algorithm doesn't know what he does. The algorithm doesn't know who PewDiePie is. So the people like him and the people that are similar to him, these other big brand names or these other big names, any subscriber that's like 100K plus, or even in the millions plus, any of those guys that have the plaques at least, they would have to start over. So someone could theoretically catch up to them, or top them. You could have somebody like me that could take that place, and you could also have somebody else that's somewhat popular also take that place. Like, for example, since PewDiePie is the biggest known YouTuber, some of his closest friends that have similar channels to him is Jack and Mark. That's why I keep referencing them. You see where I'm going with this? Jack and Mark, I believe, could honestly have been #1 if they did something slightly different, something similar to PewDiePie, something similar to Felix. Felix ended up doing a thing where the history, if you ever watched his YouTube channel, he's been doing YouTube forever, and he basically took a long shot. He ended up barely eating, food, he barely ended up getting sleep, and he barely had a job, and still tried to have a functional life with his girlfriend, still trying to do his dream job, which is being a YouTuber. He would have like 1 meal a day, barely getting sleep, and bust his ass doing videos every single day. He would always do that. But, if he did that now, trying to start the slate clean, there would be people with just as equal motivation as him, with the same ideas as him, and if everyone's starting the slate clean, people don't necessarily have that popularity effect where, like, just because something's popular, you want, go check them out. Like, for example, think about it this way. Why would you end up getting a random knockoff, Coca-Cola drink when you can just end up getting a Pepsi? Or why would you end up getting some random, new type of cheeseburger when you can just get a normal cheeseburger from where you already go? Why would you end up trying something new when you already know you like something? Most humans will not risk something most of the time because they don't want risk. They don't like danger. They don't like taking a chance. So if people didn't necessarily have that popularity effect or that comfort effect with some of these YouTubers, like how they do with their everyday life, and they don't want to risk anything, it's a very equal chance, and if everybody's on the same playing field, it's really a matter of preference at that point. So let's look at the popularity or the growth rate. Like, let's think about it this way. PewDiePie's YouTube channel and its current state is not necessarily as easy as it is to grow. He has to censor himself in comparison to, like, let's say Mark or Jack, who their channel, for some reason, the algorithm didn't affect as much, and they can end up doing that. Let's say that even though that their channel slate is wiped clean, the algorithm is still the same. Like, let's say PewDiePie's channel still gets treated the way it is now, where he has to watch what he says, and Mark and Jack don't necessarily. If Mark and Jack could swear as much as they want and be able to make whatever videos they want and not necessarily have to waste more time editing out swear words, like in comparison, like let's say for PewDiePie or Felix, they could produce more videos of better quality faster. Therefore, they could get more videos out, making them be able to have more to provide, making them in turn have more accessibility, making them in turn grow more, making them more popular. So basically what I'm getting at this here is that theoretically, this is all theoretical, I know I've probably said that a billion times, but somebody like Markiplier or PewDiePie with similar types of videos, because let's say that if the algorithm decides to do what it's doing currently and kind of give them more leeway, but their channels are wiped clean, they would pass PewDiePie. Same thing with me. Like, theoretically with me, my YouTube channel, it's kind of like pulverized in the dirt. But it can end up growing. So I wanted to end up kind of wrapping this video up like this. Take a look at YouTube the way it is now, and truly, honest to God, think would it be this successful if it just released like kind of like this crummy state that everyone complains that it is? I don't think it would. I think it would be popular, but I don't think it would be nearly as popular. I also don't think it would necessarily function as well, but it would function. And some of the important things you would have to keep in mind is that the YouTubers that are popular now, it wouldn't be the same. They would definitely switch. Alrighty guys, so this is the very first episode of If We're Different. I hope you guys truly did enjoy. And if you guys do want to see some more stuff like that, make sure you end up dropping a like and subscribing and all that good stuff. And I hope you guys did end up enjoying. Please support this series if you do want to see more, and I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. And I will just see you guys all in the next one. Thank you for watching, guys. Happy New Year, and peace out.